This is Paul Sanneman from Business Success Tips, where we can learn to make more money in less time and have more fun, especially more fun. So I'm excited tonight. I have Stuart Windsor from Windsor Wolves Creation, and he's like a combo guy. Not only does he have a construction company, he also does coaching, which I think is a great combination. I've known Stuart for a while. So Stuart, tell about what you do and why you do it.
Yeah, so as you kind of mentioned, we've got the two service business. So we do the residential renovations and commercial tenant improvements on the contracting side of things. We're a construction management company. And then we also do the business coaching exclusively for construction trades. So we have a combination of sub-trades as well as general contractors within our current stable of clients.
Okay. And as a coach, what do you find people's biggest problems are in the construction industry, and how do you help solve them?
We find that there's four primary problems that we've worked with. So one is going to be understanding their numbers, whether that's going to be just general financial redistribution, job profitability, that kind of stuff. Number two is going to be the time management and association of themselves as well as their guys. Third is going to be that hiring and onboarding and training process. And fourth is going to be that sales and marketing side of things.
Okay. So can you explain to me a little bit about where people mess up on all four of those areas? Your experience.
Totally. So first off, on the financial understanding side of things, a lot of contractors like to just abdicate their responsibility of their financials. The idea being that they'll hire a bookkeeper without knowing what to expect or what they're intending for them to do. And then they just wash their hands and walk away and hope that their books are going to be good, that they're going to be clean, and that things are going to run fine, as opposed to learning enough about the bookkeeping and accounting side of things to be able to actually delegate and communicate effectively within that. And so that's kind of a quick little insight on that. Number two is that time management side of things. Putting in systems and processes in place to be able to make sure that they can actually delegate and trust in their guys to be able to execute the things that they need done without needing to be on site. I mean, we've had conversations with guys that have on-site crews of 12, 15 guys, and they're still on site. When it's pour day, yeah, they're on site. They're training, they're doing this kind of stuff. It's like, man, you already have a pretty extensive enough production team. You should not be on site unless you want to be on site for whatever kind of particular reason. Right. Next up is going to be that hiring and onboarding side of things. Lots of guys wait until they're desperate, and then they just hire the first pulse that kind of walks through the door. We've actually worked with you guys on the CSS side of things for assistance on the contracting side. And that made an absolute world of difference to be able to help our hiring process for the contracting side of things. So making sure that they connect with a recruiter such as yourself, or at the very least have a plan and intentionality behind why they're hiring, what they're going for, the role, what they're going to do, that kind of stuff. And then lastly, on the sales and marketing side of things, they think that they will get by exclusively on referrals and word of mouth. And don't get me wrong, there's lots of work to be had on referrals and word of mouth. And there's a wonderful aspect to that. However, actually stepping into new platforms and marketing and that kind of stuff really helps them take their business to the next level and increases that stables that they have of potential leads and prospective clients coming through. Because when you have that big stables, it's so much easier to be able to turn down the jobs that aren't the right fit, aren't profitable, and that kind of stuff. And it allows you to do it with a lot more confidence.
So question, do you have any particular suggestions on what kind of marketing? Is it Facebook? Is it, hows? I mean, how should a contractor decide where to spend their marketing dollars?
So from our kind of firsthand experience, we're currently a part of local building associations. We're a part of House. We're a part of HomeStars. And we've gotten a number of different kind of like supportive aspects like that are going on. And we're currently in the process of starting to onboard advertising on Facebook and on LinkedIn. But so a big thing when it comes to that onboarding of marketing and advertising is be very targeted with what you're going for. A number of folks, especially within this industry, like we are maybe the camera swingers. Carpenters by trade, plumbers, electricians, etc. We don't really understand the intricacies of what advertising is all about. But I use fishing as an analogy all the time when it comes to the marketing side of things. If you're going out and you have the best rod, you have the best bait, but you have no idea what you're actually fishing for, and you just throw a line into a puddle, you're not going to catch anything. But if you know that you're looking to catch rainbow trout at a certain time of year and using a certain kind of bait and a certain kind of rod and reel, you can be much, much, much more targeted on what it is that you're going for. Because advertising, you can throw money at a wall and get nothing out of it. So if you can be very targeted with what it is that you're specifically doing, you can have a lot of success with making sure. So you're communicating to the specific clients that you're going for, what their problems are, how you are the solution to that problem, and be very, 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 very specific to it, to understanding what their needs are and communicating your ability to solve them.
Do you have a specific example of something that worked in marketing you can tell the guys or ladies?
So one thing that we've been making a push on, and I actually realized when we had first met, you had talked about your own push and drive towards contractors connecting with architects, which is a fantastic outlet, which we have done. But for us, it all started with interior designers. Again, I'm a hammer swinger. I'm a carpenter by trade, and went through the ebbs and flows of the industry in and of itself. And I realized, like, I don't know which grout color goes with which faucet and all that kind of stuff. And like, I realized that as a notable problem that I had. But then I also had already worked with some designers, and we went down a path of doing a lot of research and connect with the designers that we'd already connected with. Okay, what are the problems that you're having with contractors? Where are these specific issues coming up, and what are they? And it'll be things like, okay, contractors keep throwing us under the bus, or contractors, they'll just take our design and use it as a rough guide and then just do whatever they want themselves. And so then they've had this hard time with maintaining relationships with them. So then we went down this path of, we built this avatar, built this profile, and then through our own both kind of cold calling, online advertising, and marketing efforts, started putting out there. And then we just started connecting with more and more and more designers through that path. And then we get countless jobs from designers year to year within this, and it fills up a big part of our stables within that.
Great. So let me get back to the bookkeeping a little bit. A significant number of contractors are embezzled. You probably know that. That's because they don't know what's going on. In fact, I had one of my clients that hired a bookkeeper, fired her because she embezzled him, hired the next one because he wasn't using us at the time, and fired her and found out she was fired from her last job for embezzlement. Like, hello.
Yeah.
So, and I think contractors are afraid of that. I mean, they're afraid of, like, I don't understand the numbers. I don't understand profit and losses. So how do you get a contractor to take an educated look at the financials in QuickBooks without being intimidated?
Well, so that's a part of our training program, actually. So that's part of our second module, which revolves around that kind of stuff, but really show them the ins and outs of it. The headspace that they need to have is to realize that QuickBooks is a tool. In the same way that a skill saw is a tool, as a hammer is a tool, they need to understand that it is a tool. And the more you learn how to use it, the more effective it's going to be for you. So go out of your way, be proactive with learning and getting training and knowing how to use it. Because especially as you grow and you're moving further and further away from being the one swinging the hammer, you need to understand how your business works. And your cash flow is the lifeblood of your business. So it's really important for you to understand money in, money out. And so again, that's why part of our second module there is to train them, how to be able to set up their chart of accounts, so that way they can look at their profit and loss statement and understand where their money's going. Because again, within this, if you don't understand what you're doing and you just abdicate that responsibility to someone else, that opportunity for embezzlement is just, it's super, I don't want to say easy, but it's a lot easier for it to happen, versus if you can look at it and you're like, why are my insurance numbers so high? Why is it all of a sudden my electrical numbers are so much higher than what I was expecting? But to have the understanding of clicking into it deep diving into it and be like, hey, actually, this isn't a bill that we received. Or, oh, this was improperly categorized and it actually shouldn't be here. And you can really dig up and identify those problems as they come through.
Basically, I mean, I've asked a lot of contractors what's the difference between accrual and cash, and they actually don't know.
Yeah.
And I have a client that got into trouble with that because they totally ran out of cash, right? Didn't do a cash projection. So we're doing $1 million a year, but they've actually made a huge amount. They're almost making $1 million profit. But the problem was the receivables like 90 days because they did a lot of government work. So
Yep.
on accrual, they were ahead like 500,000-600,000, and on cash they were behind 600,000. So
Yep.
basically making a lot of money and had no money. And they didn't understand that. So I had to explain them, this is cash, this is accrual, this is how you can make a lot of money and not have any money. And the real basics, but a lot of contractors don't even know that stuff. It's surprising.
Yep. Yep. And honestly, it's going to be really important for you to understand how to be able to identify and read both, but try to stick with one aspect of that. Like pick either cash or accrual. I mean, your accountant is going to need to likely be doing accrual, but nonetheless, to be able to really have the understanding. And for those of you that are listening that don't understand what it is, effectively cash is actual transactions, money in, money out, stuff that's actually come through. Accrual is going to be based on invoices and bills and when they're meant to be getting paid and that kind of in and out. So there's going to be the delays or skews timelines outside of what it doesn't necessarily reflect your bank account. We actually, one of the questions I ask prospective clients all the time is like, are you profitable? A lot of these guys, the first thing they say is, well, I've got money in my bank account, so that means yes. Like, nope, like how much money do you owe? I have no idea. Okay, so yeah, so there's a distinct divide between a lot of these guys just think that because they have some money in their bank account that they're profitable, but that's not the case.
Right.
That's not the case. Yeah.
So I guess the advice is even though it may be difficult, you've got to learn actually how to read a financial statement, how to look at QuickBooks, and have a basic understanding, because that's the lifeblood of your business.
Yep.
And not knowing that is going to not let you make good decisions, I think.
It's part of that evolutionary process as a business owner. Like if you just want to be a carpenter and you want to swing a hammer, you want to do those kinds of things, you're probably best served just giving up on your business and going and working for someone else. But if you really want to be able to grow a business, grow a business and not just have your own job, you're going to need to learn these other things. And that's understanding the financials, understanding that time management, understanding how to hire, understanding how to be able to market and sell and create a sales process, all this kind of stuff. It's beautiful. I absolutely love business because it's ongoing. There is never not something to learn. And so as long as you continue to apply yourself, and that learning could be growing your gross revenue. Great. You're selling more jobs, you're producing more work. Great. If that's a thing that you want to focus on, all the power to you. I mean, gross revenue isn't really the best deciding metric, but lots of guys get pumped up by gross revenue as a number. Whereas if you actually, the first number you should be looking at is gross profit, because that's that first number that you actually get to play with. But obviously as it goes, net profit, the number of hours that you're working, depending on whatever your long-term trajectory is. But yeah, finding that passion and keenness to be able to learn and grow about things other than the tool belt is what's going to allow them to continue to have success and to be able to grow and actually turn the business into something that they probably imagined they wanted to turn it into in the first place, as opposed to getting trapped into where they're currently at.
So you've made this transition. A lot of guys and ladies have a trouble probably making the transition from a craftsman to an entrepreneur, or craftsman to that is a switch, right? And you obviously pulled it off. So how do you help people that are craftsmen that start a business because they got laid off or they didn't like their boss or picking a number of reasons? Now they're a craftsman. They've got a couple of jobs. They started their business. They don't much understand cash flow. They hire an office man. They start going. How do you get them to make that emotional and mental transition from a craftsperson to an entrepreneur?
Yeah, it's definitely a transition. And part of it is a lot of these guys that they have that, a lot of them are really good tradespeople. and part of the reason why they left is, like you said, there's a number of different reasons, but maybe it's like they want to make more money. Their boss was an idiot. They want to have control and freedom of their lives, whatever it happens to be. So part of this is to be able to, that's what I had mentioned before about the systems and procedures and that kind of stuff. They need to be able to find a way to not have to be on a job site and still have their expectations, their values, their what they expect for the job to have happen, actually executed with them not needing to be there. Because once they realize that they don't have to be the one that, you know, swinging the hammer, is reading the tape measures, reading the plans, doing whatever, and the job can still get done, that is like a massive step in the right direction. But a lot of these guys start as the technician, and I'm going to refer to a book here that I'm sure a number of us have read, or if you haven't, E-Myth for Contractors. I hope I'm able to cite a book on here, but
Really, no problem. Go for it.
Perfect. So the technician, that's the guy who's always swinging the hammer. The one who wants to be on the tools and have a great time. That's what they're all about. They're the ones that have a really hard time with anything else beyond that. Then there's the next layer to that, which we help navigate guys to get into, which is the managerial side of things. So that's that being able to have a team, making sure that they're executing at that level that you're at, and the success of the manager comes from the success of your technicians. And especially if you come from that technician background, you understand, like, there's a big difference between, say, like doing a form work for a garage in the middle of summer versus the middle of winter. And so when you can have a certain layer of understanding and empathy to that situation, and you can promote your guys, whether it's going to be, okay, making sure they've got good rain gear, or making sure they've got like something warm to eat for their lunch breaks or something, that little bit of difference can go a long way to supporting the technicians that you're hiring to execute on that. And then the next layer behind that is from the managerial side of things to the more entrepreneurial side of things. And that's going to be looking further down the road. So in the sense of, if you're driving your car and you're looking 10 feet in front of the hood of your car, you're probably going to crash, because your knee-jerk reaction on everything you're looking around, it's dreadful. But so what we're looking to do is be able to get guys start looking further down the road. Okay, where am I going towards? What are the kinds of jobs that we want to take on? Who are the kind of employees I need to take on? Where do I need support? Where am I spending my time? Where are they spending their time? So it's a bit of a process to be able to get them to start letting go. And taking those, it's not just like an overnight, you flip the switch and all of a sudden you go from one to the other. It's taking those steps back, as long as you can be we push guys just slightly out of their comfort zone, which is where the most learning happens. And so get them just outside of their comfort zone so they can keep on learning, keep on growing. And as they continue to, like, okay, you know what, actually wasn't that bad. Okay, you know what, my guy messed up, but in the end, it wasn't
too far of their comfort zone, they rebel. I've noticed that. Like, they go, it's not worth it. If you take them way to their comfort zone, they go, I don't think this is too hard. So I think also, in commenting here, if you don't enjoy getting work through done for other people, if you don't enjoy the idea of looking at financials and get excited about financials you do about the way a cabinet looks, or get excited about the new people you hired, it's a different set of values. And if you don't enjoy being an entrepreneur, then don't do it. It doesn't make any sense. And a lot of these guys, they thought, well, I had a lot of fun because I got to build something. I saw it built. I got to hit the hammer. I got to put the cabinets in. There's a certain satisfaction that comes from a craftsman of doing a good job and building something, which is an entirely different set of satisfaction that comes from building a company. Because the most exciting thing you're looking at is a goddamn computer screen, right? It's like, oh, wow, my margin is 18.6%. Yes. It's a different kind of stuff. So if you don't enjoy building something that's not physical, that's more of a concept, like I have, all these people working for me, I'm providing for all these families. If you see that as a burden as opposed to an asset, it's going to be hard. If you like,
absolutely,
depending on you, as opposed to, crap, I have to support these people, it's bad, then you're probably not the right guy. So I think you need to look at, do you enjoy the things that an entrepreneur enjoys, or do you enjoy the thing a craftsman enjoys? Because there've been a lot of craftsmen that regret becoming entrepreneurs. It does happen.
It absolutely happens because it's a whole new skill set that you need to learn. Your skills that you've developed as a craftsman are only going to take you so far, and within the world of business, it's not that far. And so putting in the time and effort to be able to make sure that you're learning those extra skills, you need to have that thirst for knowledge and that desire to be able to go through it and be able to handle the ups and downs as it passes through, and execute accordingly. Yeah, it's a tumultuous journey, but in the end, it's totally worth it.
I would just say, if you like those things, it's totally worth it. I know people that have
yes,
built businesses to several million, and they regretted doing it because their life sucks, in their opinion, right? All these people depend on them. They have to keep the machine running. They have to sell. They have to work. And other people that love it. So, it's entirely a personal kind of thing. So if you love the fact that the cabinet's done and the house is built and the slab looks good and whatever, and that's how you get excited, maybe you should do that. If you get excited about looking at graphs on a piece of paper or the people you've helped or the contribution you made to the community, maybe you should do the other. But I would definitely consider both, because the money's not worth it if you're not happy.
Yeah, agreed entirely within it. And it can take, especially if you're just in it for the money as well, it can be pretty devastating, especially if you take a loss on a project or on a year or whatever. And if you lose money on a job and your only focus is money, it can be very detrimental to your kind of your mental health or your kind of well-being.
You do not have a good day for sure, right?
You definitely do not have a good day when you take a loss on a job. Yeah, so it is a headspace, and it is possible to be able to break that technician's mindset. We've been able to do it with a number of our clients, and it's made a world of difference. And I'd say, like, it's kind of relevant to this as well, is when you've built a business, when you can go away and the business keeps on chugging along and keeps on making you money. I know one of our guys, it's a plumbing business, and he used to have to tell his guys that they weren't working whenever he wanted to be able to take a holiday. It's like, okay, sorry guys, no work for the next 2 weeks because I'm going on holiday. Right. And so, but recently he went on a 3-week hunting trip where he knew that even while he was out in the woods and doing his thing, business was still growing and he was still making money. And so he was absolutely thrilled at just that entire concept, the fact that, like, inspections were passed, that they landed new jobs, invoices went out, all this kind of stuff, while he was out tromping through the wilderness. And just that as a concept, as an entrepreneur, is just like a wonderful change of pace compared to a lot of these guys who get trapped in that cycle where it's just, they think they need to be on 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, whereas setting those boundaries, setting those cutoffs, those expectations, and building towards something. Like, he wanted to, I know part of his, this individual in particular, he's building towards going away for, I think it's a Euro Cup or World Cup or something along those lines, some big soccer tournament. And I think he's going to be away for 4 weeks. And so, like, to have those goals and those directions that you're working towards, understand what it's going to tangibly take to be able to get there, build out that roadmap of making it happen, and then just execute. It makes it a lot easier to navigate the day-to-day. And that's when I talked before about getting into that entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah,
it's so much easier to navigate the day-to-day when you're looking down the road and knowing what you're shooting towards.
Well, also I say the difference between owning a job and owning a business is, if you go away and the money slows down, you own a job. If you go away and the money keeps going, you own a business. And a lot of people in this industry own a job.
Yeah, the vast majority of them do.
And I would say working with people like you can convert their job into a business. They got to make some changes. Yeah,
well, and that's actually a point for most of the prospective clients that come through. We'll even say, hey, just so you know, like, we're going to make you uncomfortable. You're going to be doing things that you do not want to be doing, that you don't know how to do. It's a struggle for you, whatever it's going to be. But it's necessary in order to be able to make that change and to be able to change where they're at and change the trajectory of their future. Yeah, so it's definitely really good to be able to navigate accordingly.
Okay, well, Stuart, if people want to get a hold of you and they believe that they'd rather own a business than a job, right? They make that kind of decision. So how would they get a hold of you?
Well, depending on kind of where they're at, but easiest way is going to be emailing me directly, which is going to be Stuart@WindsorWolves.com, STUART@WindsorWolves, which is in my background here.com. And then I'll be able to have a bit of a follow-up conversations, either be myself or one of my team members that would kind of follow up, do a bit of an assessment with where you're at, where you're going, what it's all about, see if we're a good fit. We definitely do not take on everyone. We make sure that you fit within our atmosphere and our environment and the kind of individuals that we're looking to be able to help develop and grow. And then we'd be able to take it from there.
Now, I assume this original discovery call doesn't cost people money. Is that fair?
That is correct. Yeah, so that initial discovery call is totally free. And depending on where we're at, where they're at, we may do somewhere around about a half-hour kind of free session as well. Not in that initial call, but in that secondary follow-up. Same idea. Just want to see how people handle being given feedback and direction. Again, part of that just making sure that they can fit within our culture, because culture is really important. Because we do group calls, we do specialty calls, we do that kind of stuff. So making sure that we can have guys that are going to come in, be contributing members to the community and the culture that we're building and growing is really crucial for us, for who we're willing to take on.
Great. Well, thanks, Stuart. I appreciate you being here. And I think if you like what he says, I definitely give him a call, because he can make a huge difference in your business. But I would say with Stuart, you need to be coachable, or don't bother to call him.
That is exactly the case. That is exactly the case.
Okay.
I really appreciate you having me out here today, Paul. And appreciate seeing you once again, as always.
Okay. Have a good one.
Cheers.